Well, the internet's always been around, so I've never really experienced music without the internet. I've only ever downloaded music on like iTunes and at first Windows Media Player when that was really cool and high tech.
Do you feel that your experience of music is different than your parents' experience of music?
Can I answer soon?
Definitely. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, also, like, I don't buy the hard copy of music anymore. Like, I don't have any vinyls, I don't have any cassettes or CDs, and my parents have, like, rows and rows and shelves full of them, and it's really interesting to, like, take a record out and look at it and, like, read, like, how, like, what they wrote down, like, from, like, the band, what they're saying, but now it's, like, I just hear the music and I don't really know what the person's trying to say.
How these deaths come about in certain media is it really has nothing to do with consumer confidence. It has to do with one corporation or one label basically saying, you know what, we'll make more money by selling this instead of selling that. I mean, records didn't die and CDs didn't emerge because populace thought that CDs were a better thing than records and easier to take care of and easier to store and last longer and the digital music sounded better. That's not how it happened at all. It's because, you know, someone in some boardroom basically said, you know what, I think it costs us, 2 cents less to make CDs than it does to make records.
25 years ago, a kid who got an allowance only had a few options for what they could spend it on. And the idea of buying a CD or a tape that had 45 minutes of music on it for their $10 or $15 was good value. Nowadays, with their allowance money, they can buy a video game that they can play for 1,000 hours. In order just to stay in the game, the record companies started giving the music away, or the technology allowed consumers to take it, and nobody stopped them. So the music doesn't have any value. People think they should just be given it for free.
A generation growing up that doesn't value albums, to me, is synonymous with a generation that doesn't value culture and life and art. You know what I mean? It means it's bigger than music, it's bigger than albums. It is a cultural concern that I have, that value is being lost in our culture.
I mean, maybe I'm just getting a bit old and I don't really get digital culture, but there's simply nothing, there's nothing moving. I know that CD, there's something moving inside that machine, but I can't see it. I think the difference between pressing a button on an iPod and playing a record is simply the tactile experience, like the actual experience of lifting a needle up and finding the song and dropping it. You can't replicate that.
You know, a record and its wholeness, for me, it does have to do with these fundamental experiences, this experience of hearing, or this experience of noticing, this, you know, I mean, it sounds so stupid, but the shape of it, it's like in this perfect square and it's so thin. It's like this perfect circle, and there's something alluring about its form.
It must seem so foreign to a young person when if I was to be at home and play my records, and they're 45 RPM records, one song. To listen to one song, to stand, and there's no point sitting down if it's like a 2-minute rock song, because you gotta get up again. Just stand there and do nothing else but just gaze at this song for 2 minutes, and then flip it over, and listen to the B-side. I mean, I imagine that just, you know, it must be preposterous.
People realize that the digital file isn't enough to fulfill their fetish in the music, and they just want something to hold on to, and they want the artwork, and they want but not in the sense that they want the artwork because it's artwork. They just want it because it's something. They just want to accumulate something and have it. I don't know why. I'm not a psychologist or a sociologist. So I don't know why people want that kind of thing, because I want it too, but they just want it.
You need to have it in your possession to listen to it, to appreciate it. And that's becoming an antiquated notion, that you need to possess something. I could list every album I ever owned on Facebook, but it's not the same as you walking into my office and seeing, oh, this guy spent all his money on records. Pretty soon, Apple is going to sell us a subscription to their library of music. And we'll have any song you've ever wanted to hear, you just press a button and you can hear it. And that's a totally different experience than having to, since I was 10 years old, amass my own personal library of music. They're creating a situation where you're no longer given the tools to have your own media universe. You're just carving out your own identity within theirs.
People that are younger than us don't really understand the kind of impact that music as a material item had on our lives. But maybe it's the same way that we don't really understand the kind of impact that, digital life has on their lives.
As long as it means something to them, as long as the next generations care about stuff. Maybe these kids do care, maybe they don't need to have the album in their hand to really care about the album, but that doesn't make any sense to me.
I lost my iPod got stolen in October, and I cried for like a week because I didn't have any music. And I still had the music on my laptop, but the iPod was my iPod, and it was someone else had it, and it was almost like someone stole my record collection or something.
So what did you do? How'd you build your collection back then?
Well, I had all the music on my computer, so I just got a new iPod and then started listening to it.
My name is Matt Fluke. I participated in Doc Challenge, and today is Friday, March 4th, year 2011.